Hey guys, Guy here from Team Tartarus, bringing you a Dino Rabbit deck profile. This is Dino Rabbit. I've been playing the deck for about 2 weeks now, and I'm really enjoying it. So let's go ahead and get into it. You run standard 2 rabbits. Can't play it without them. They make your Logia plays, your Dolka plays, and if you could run 3, you'd be running 3. You don't have that many normal monster targets, but you'd still run him at 3 just to draw into him and have him usable almost all times. So that's Rabbit. And if you're running Dino Rabbit, you've also got the staple, or the standard dinosaur cards. You're using 3 Kabuzols and 3 Sabersaurus. You're going to want to run them in 3s, because if you run them at 2 and you draw into it, then your rabbit's instantly dead, and you don't want that to happen. So we'll go ahead and go into the next part, which is the tour guide engine. You use 2 tour guides. This helps you get your Leviair plays off. You use a Sangan because he's searchable for this, and you can use him to search for your rabbit. And I use a Night Assailant just to make sure that these tour guides are almost always live. Then we get into the light aspect. Using 2 Thunder Kings, that's what makes this kind of a stun control build. Using Thunder Kings, but almost all Dino Rabbit decks are control builds, so you got the 2 Thunder Kings. And then I'm using 2 Effect Veilers. I like to be able to stop my opponent's cards, keep control. When I've got a Logia on field, I don't want them to be able to, let's say, flip up Raikou, pop Logia, or anything like that along that nature. So 2 Effect Veilers is good. I'm using double Snowman Eater. I didn't think I'd like this card as much as I do, but I really, really enjoy it. I don't know, I heard something about he makes someone miss timing. He makes like Stardust miss timing or something like that, but I'm not sure. Oh, he makes Dolka miss timing, that's what it does. I'm not sure if that's true, but that's how I've been playing him. You know, he's pretty good. Then we move on to Gores. Gores is a game changer. You can't really say much about Gores. He's Gores. That's basically all you need to know. And then you've got 1 BLS. I'm using 5 darks and 4 lights. I consider using BLS pretty... I'd say he's justified. I use enough lights and darks that he's pretty live. Onto the spells and traps. I'm using 2 Forbidden Lance. I would be using 3 if I was using the Direct Guaibas, but I'm not. So I'm only using 2 Lance. But I am loving this card. It is so good. Then we move into the staples. A Monster Reborn, Dark Hole, Heavy Storm, and 3 MST. This deck hates back row, so any back row at all, I've got all these ways of getting rid of your back row, plus some. It's just good. Then I'm using 1 Mind Control, kind of staple in a Dino Rabbit build or anything you want to Synchro or Exceed in. Take my opponent's monster, use it for Exceeds or Synchros or whatever. 1 Book of Moon, just for that extra defense play, or if I've got a Night Assailant or more likely a Snowman Eater face up, I can flip him back face down and use his effect again. And then the Lone Pot of Avarice. Wish I could use more if I could. If we had Pot of Avarice back at 2 and Rescue Rabbit at 3, this deck would be even more busted. But we don't, so we've got Pot of Avarice, great late game, great even early game. I let him sit in my hand, and when I get the right amount of monsters, I just go off. And now we're going to go on to the traps. So we're using 2 Compulsory Evacuation Device. This has become one of my new favorite cards because of how good it is. This stops Zenmains, Maelstrokes. You get over your opponent's big Exceeds. You stop them from making their huge plays. This is just a really good card. And then I'm using the Solemn Brigade, 1 Solemn Judgment, and 2 Solemn Warnings. Kind of self-explanatory. Double Bottomless, because Double Bottomless is good in basically any deck. I love using this against mirror matches, actually. I usually hate playing against mirror matches, but I love using that against them. One-dimensional prison, thinking about upping this to 2 or taking this out for a 3rd compulse. I just like it because it banishes my opponent's stuff, so it's good. And then the last card, 1 Starlight Road, because I have lots of cards in here, and if I'm not heavying, I don't want my stuff being heavied because of how much back row I use, so I need to keep that protected at all times. If I got a Dolka on field and something else, I don't want it Dark Hold, so I Starlight Road, get a Stardust Dragon out, and have even more protection. Then we'll go extra deck, using 2 Logia standard. Logia is basically a Solemn Judgment for, no life point cost. Then we're using 2 Dolka. I don't see why people say that Logia is the star of this deck because Logia shuts people down. No, nowadays decks are built around effects. Dolka shuts down decks. I go first turn Dolka over first turn Logia almost every time I can do it. I just don't like Logia as much as Dolka. I mean, it's good for protection late game, but that's basically it. I'm using 1 Shockmaster because on rare occasions I do make him, and he really helps. Using 1 Utopia, I think this the meta calls for every extra deck to be using at least 1 Utopia. You kind of need it. It's good. A staple for every extra deck is Photon Papal Operative. This card puts in work. This card gets rid of Spirit Reapers. It is so good. I love it. 1 Maestro, the Symphony Djinn. It's basically another Zen Mains. It's really good. You don't get to pop a card, but it's good for 1800 attack. A lot of big stuff doesn't have that high defense. Use Maestro, run over it. Your opponent's Dark Flare Dragon or whatever, because Chaos Dragons poop on this deck sometimes. 1 Tempo. These are the rank 3s. 1 Tempo. Because he's good. Let's go summon him, take off one of your opponent's Zen Mains pieces, have him gain attack, and attack over your opponent's Zen Mains. That's good. 1 Leviathan Dragon. I'm using a common right now because I don't know what I did with my secret, so if you've got a secret, or I'm actually looking for an ultimate rare. But Leviathan Dragon, even though it's very rare that I want to go into him, he's still good for those random 2500 beat sticks when you need it, so keep him around. Then you use 1 Leviair. This is the star of the extra deck for Dino Rabbit. He is almost as key to this deck as Logia and Dolka. You start off first turn Rabbit and Tour Guide, you basically win the game. You summon your Rabbit, get your 2 vanillas, make your Logia or Dolka, set some back row, and end. Next turn, summon your Tour Guide, use its effect to summon Night Assailant or another Tour Guide or a Sangin from your deck or your hand, and then overlay into Leviair, use Leviair's effect, take off a material, get your Rabbit back, use Rabbit's effect again, and then you've got a Logia and a Dolka on field. It's good. 1 Zen Mains, because every extra deck needs Zen Mains. He's so good. He's just really good. He's got good defense. The only problem I have with him is that he can be bottomless. And then I'm using 1 number 30 Acid Golem of Destruction. Yes, he's Ultra. Just because I don't like to not be able to special summon, but if I know I've got game and I need that little bit of extra push, I'm going to go for an Acid Golem and win. And then the last extra deck card is a Stardust Dragon for that Starlight Road. I have 14 spaces. I'm using up 14 extra deck spaces. I need 1 more, and I'm going to put in a Chaos Utopia Ray. I just got to get a C39. And then Gorse Token, because it's cool. And what I'm siding this, I guess you could say this ban list, I guess, is really unorthodox. I don't really have a great side deck, but it works for what people play at my locals. I'm using 1 Puppet Plant. It's good against heroes and 6 Sams and stuff like that. I like taking my opponent's monsters and using it to exceed. 1 Electric Virus because I have Machina Gadgets and Robo Rabbit running rampant on my locals, so it's good. I'm using 2 Soul Takers because Chaos Dragons poop on this deck, and I side Soul Taker in almost every game because it's so good. I'm using 2 System Downs because of Machina Geargia's, just I can stop it, it doesn't hurt me, but I prefer to have that extra bit of destruction. 2 Noblemen Across Out, same reason. Machina Geargia's Mirror Match, get rid of their Snowman Eaters. Get rid of just everything. Get rid of Raikou in a Chaos Dragon matchup. It's just really good. One, Leeching the Light for agents, because for some reason agents do hurt this deck a little bit, and it's kind of understandable. Agents are still good. Using 3-dimensional fissures. I want to make these a macrocosmos, but I don't feel like picking up macros yet. So I've got the 3-dimensional fissures to side in to make this kind of like macro rabbit. Just stops the Machina, YuGiOh, stuff like that. Stops them from being able to discard. I'll activate that when I'm about to do a rabbit play or something, so I can stop you from being able to affect Veiler my rabbit or my tour guide or whatever I'm trying to go into. 1 Light Imprisoning Mirror, again, for Chaos Dragons, Light Sworns, agents, stuff like that. And then 2 Chain Disappearance for, you know, just those low-level monsters that my opponent's going to spam. Stuff like that. So, that was the deck, guys. Let me know what you think. I've got to edit this a little bit, but it's pretty much where I want it. And, thanks for watching. I'll have a new trade binder up soon, so go ahead and take a look at that and help me get what I need. Thanks.